Welcome to Triple Play Fantasy. Thanksgiving is here this week. Football is here. We're ready to make you guys some money. Stay tuned. Welcome to Triple Play Fantasy, your weekly fantasy football show here with the guys. I'm your host, Zach at FF Tupa Batman. I'm joined today by what are you top six? Are you number six, Alex?
Yeah, sitting number 6 right now.
All right. So we got Scott Fishbowl, 13, the number six in the entire league. We're talking 3,300 people. Alex Mateo, 94. Welcome. And then Doc at Triple Play Fantasy. Not that we don't care about where you rank Scott Fishbowl, because I'm way down there as well.
Hey, I made playoffs, by the way.
That's all that matters.
Again.
You're
Leave
looking
us
at
in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're looking at 3 playoff entrants here, so we're excited for that. If you have no idea what we're talking about, you're missing out. It's a great charity as well. We're about to do some Toys for Tots shopping. I'm excited to be a part of that this year. So more to come on that. But you guys are here to watch us talk about fantasy football, and we appreciate that. It's Thanksgiving. This week we're very thankful. We get 3, I don't want to call them great games, but we get to see a few great teams play. We'll see if they end up being great games. We got a Black Friday game for the first time this year. I know the NFL was hoping it wasn't going to be Tim Boyle, but such is life.
Friend of the pod, Tim Boyle.
Hey, no shade on Tim Boyle. I'm just saying I don't think the NFL was expecting Tim Boyle to be starting for Black Friday game. That's all. Just saying. But welcome, guys. I am excited for this week. Playoffs are getting real close in your leagues. I mean, Thanksgiving is here. So normally I say, what do we feel about the previous week, week 11? But first, I'm going to throw a curveball to you guys. What are you thankful for since it's Thanksgiving week? We'll start with Alex.
Oh, it's not expecting that little curveball, but I'll say just being able to have the time off this weekend just to enjoy life with the family and really see some relatives that we don't see too often.
Awesome. How about you, Dak?
To be honest, just thankful for this community. Like Zach and Alex, 3 years ago, I didn't know who you guys were. Maybe 3.5 years ago, I didn't know who you guys were. We're essentially strangers, and now we're doing this every single week, and it's just what fantasy football, the Twitter community, the pandemic brought to us is, lifelong friendships and people that, share common interests that we've never seen in person or just behind screens.
Absolutely. And I'll give the generic. I'm thankful for my family. I think it's an easy one. But like you said, I am thankful for this community, for this team. It's been a lot of fun. We're not really getting paid to do this, which is okay. We're doing it because we love it. It's fun. Like, we're just here to have a good time. Hopefully help you guys win something. We want to win too. That's why we're doing this.
I am thankful though. Zach said after this show he would break out into song and dance.
I heard that too.
He got into
say that as well.
Playoffs. Zach said last week, guys, if I get in, this will be my first time ever, and I'll do something I've never done, which I infer as breaking into song and dance. And
I agree with that notion.
Yeah, no, the record will show in our group chat that never was said by me. It was said by you. I am thankful for making Scott Fishbowl playoffs for the first time, and it's my 4th time, so it does feel great. I will be bounced really quick. I expect that. I know Alex is going to carry the team far, and we appreciate that, Alex. That will not be me.
Repping the brand.
Yeah, we will be cheering you on. But yeah, no, it's been a fun season so far, and we're gonna finish strong. With that, Doc, give me one takeaway from week 11.
All right, so never bet on the Chargers. The Chargers are falling in with Atlanta territory of teams that you think you're confident on. But
I'm pretty sure I said that on the last show. Do not bet on the Chargers.
You did. It was right after the song and dance part.
Yeah.
But from the fantasy football perspective, don't be afraid to roster multiple quarterbacks. I have 3 in one of my home leagues, and the way that QBs have been dropping like flies, it's not only so that you can have enhanced trade value, but it's playing keep away from other people. And sometimes opponents, especially if you have 8 out of 12 teams or 6 out of 10 that make the playoffs that sneak in, and then have a replacement level quarterback, you're playing defense against them as well. So I have Herbert, Goff, and Dak, and everybody's like, why do you have 3 quarterbacks? Because if somebody else goes down, if Josh Allen, if Lamar Jackson's owner goes down right before the trade deadline and they're desperate, then I can probably get more for a better running back or wide receiver just because they need that. Yes.
Yeah, and normally I don't like rostering more than 1 QB in a 1 QB league, but this is the time of year where you do need to, like you said, you need to look. If you're making the playoffs, you need to protect yourself. If you need to roster 3, if that's what it takes, we got a couple more bye weeks to go. That's what you got to do. So, Alex, what is your one takeaway from Week 11?
So mine, it's not necessarily a fantasy takeaway, but at the same time, it is. The top 4 seeds in both the AFC and the NFC are so wide open. In the NFC, Philly, Dallas, Detroit, and San Fran are all separated by 2 games at the most. Then in the AFC, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Browns, it's a cluster of teams. So there's going to be meaningful football played throughout the fantasy playoffs. So ideally, you won't have to worry about one of your stars resting because their team already locked their playoff spot. So you really aren't playing too handcuffed going into the playoffs.
No, absolutely. And Mike, another buddy from the team, also mentioned same rule applies for defenses with positive matchups. So look ahead. If you think someone's got a really good matchup, stash them. You can afford to do that once you kind of have your stars solidified. My takeaway is just it's a fickle game. We're getting close to the playoffs. You could have the best team in the league. You could be dominating everybody. You just need to make it to the playoffs. You don't know what's going to happen. You're one injury away from your team being demolished or from another league mate's team being demolished. So just do everything you can to get in the playoffs. And then at that point, you just got to hope you get lucky for a few weeks. So just keep listening to us and we'll hopefully get you there. And if you guys have any questions, please go over to the YouTube link. Go over there to drop your questions, comments on there. Much better. You can do it on Facebook too, but unfortunately you can't do it on X/Twitter. And with that, bye weeks for week 12. Congratulations. Happy Thanksgiving. No bye weeks. Now, we won't talk about week 13 where we got 6 of them, but no bye weeks this week. So enjoy that. We're going to get into the injuries though. And this is where it gets a little depressing. It feels like it's been forever ago. It was last Thursday night. Joe Burrow messed up his wrist. He's done for the year. That sucks. Mark Andrews messed up his ankle. At least done for the year from a fantasy
standpoint. Let me tell you, going to a Ravens game is depressing as it is because I don't like the Ravens. But to see all that in the first quarter.
God, we're going to blame you.
Oh, man.
We were so excited, too. It was like, this is a great matchup. We've had so many terrible games. And then, man, it got depressing.
It's the Thursday curse. They should just do double headers every Monday. That's my stance. Have a West Coast team late. Just double headers every Monday.
I'm down for it. I'm sorry the injury report keeps getting more depressing. Devon Achane finally back off IR. He heard the same thing again. We don't know what's going on. Apparently, he maybe got in a limited practice today. We'll see. Cooper Kupp hurt his ankle that he had surgery on last year. Apparently, it's a low ankle sprain, so we're hopeful it's only a 1-week injury. Maybe he's back this week. We don't know yet. Geno Smith got rocked by Aaron Donald. Hurt his elbow, came back in the game eventually, couldn't seal the win. He plays tomorrow night, Thursday night. They claim he's going to play. We will see. He's been bad this year, so that's tough. Aaron Jones finally got back, hurt his knee. Apparently not as serious as they thought it could be, but still didn't look good. Kenneth Walker, oblique injury. Apparently that one is pretty serious because even our buddy Petey Sunshine, who's always positive about any injury, did not sound positive about that one. And then finally Luke Musgrave with an abdominal injury, which apparently he was in the hospital for that one. Not a whole lot of information come over that, but that never sounds great. So I would expect to be without Luke Musgrave for at least a week, if not significantly longer. So of those, I wanted to bring up Isaiah Likely. So he's Mark Andrews' backup. Is he worth a pickup if you lost Andrews, or should you target another waiver wire tight end?
If you lost Andrews, I feel like you almost have to. And at this point, who in the tight end market is really viable that's on waivers? Your options are pretty slim at this point.
Yeah, I think it's a dart throw. We saw it week 1 when Mark Andrews was out, 1 catch for 4 yards. Mm-hmm. He showed flashes last season. I mean, you'd be getting him because he's Andrews' handcuff. I mean, it depends who else is available. Like I would take a flyer on Cade Otton if he's available. I would take a flyer on Michael Meyer, but he's a starting tight end.
Yeah.
And he's familiar with the offense and on a high scoring team. So, yeah, I mean, how many times do we say about tight ends, though? Unless you have one of the top three, you're banking they catch a touchdown.
Yeah. At this point, you're not going to be able to replace Mark Andrews. Hopefully, the rest of your squad is strong enough to make up for it. But yeah, you're not going to find that magic on the waiver wire consistently. You might get lucky here or there. And then the last question I had from the injuries: can you start Zach Charbonnet? I want to say it's an easy start because he's a starting running back now with Kenneth Walker being out. The problem is he's playing Thursday night, tomorrow night against the 49ers. Not a great matchup. Geno Smith is also banged up. If you guys have Charbonnet, are you starting him this week, or are you just let's see how he does in a bad matchup?
Desperation, yes. Otherwise, no. He has the most touches this year. I believe it's 72 without a touchdown. Playing a 49ers team that's been finding their groove recently. Seahawks have a bad offensive line. 49ers have a good defensive line. And game script favors them needing to pass. And Charbonnet is a above average pass catcher. So once again, I think out of desperation, but I don't think he's going to have a high ceiling in this sort of game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. And the floor is just as low as anything. He can very easily go 10 carries for 14 yards and put a 1.4 and you're starting the week behind the 8 ball. Like you said, Doc, if you're desperate, I'm taking the swing. If I'm not, I'm not risking it.
Yeah, and there's no bye weeks this week, so unless you're just decimated with injuries, hopefully you already had your starter solidified and you don't need to play Charbonnet. Now, if you have him on your roster, by all means, you need to keep him. Stash him away.
Oh,
he
absolutely.
could be gold as we get down the stretch here. It's a rough matchup to start in.
Zach, would you start him or Jahan Dotson?
That's a hard-hitting question for him.
I don't like Dotson. He's got a terrible matchup, but they're going to be throwing a lot. We'll get to that in a second. Probably lean Dotson, honestly.
Okay. Interesting.
That's your highlight of the season, hearing him say Dotson.
Noted.
Yeah. But with that, we will go to our favorite bets or props for week 12. So, Alex, why don't you start us off? I see you have looks like it's a Thanksgiving Day special.
It is. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to keep up that trend of finding the end zone. Scored 5 times in the last 4 games, is sitting at minus 125. So Vegas even thinks he's going to score. And the Packers, they are living up to that Swiss cheese representation against the run this year. They've given up 134 yards a game and averaging just about giving up a touchdown as well. So both Gibbs and Montgomery have a good chance of finding the end zone this week.
And if you want to get crazy, sprinkle a little bit on first touchdown to Gibbs.
Yeah.
On top of the anytime touchdown. Just
love doing that.
Maybe get a little extra cheddar on that one. There's another cheese reference for you guys. Doc, who is your prop or favorite bet of the week?
So mine is Dolphins first quarter money line at minus 218 on DraftKings. If you look at them for the game, it's minus 520, but the spread is minus 10. I mean, through 15 minutes, can you see the Jets beating them? I think the only way the Jets are winning at this point is if Breece Hall rips a long touchdown, which, obviously you're willing to bank on, or there is a Miami turnover and the Jets get it in favorable field position. But I love Tim Boyle, friend of the pod. Can't see him driving. I mean, his passing yards prop is at 162 on most sites, the max. I've seen it as low as 150 on a lot of them. So I think if you can get Dolphins to win the first quarter at minus 218, that's a way better value than their money line at minus 520.
I mean, I think the only way you lose that bet is if Tua throws a first quarter pick 6 and then nothing else happens the rest of the quarter.
Exactly.
Which it could happen, and that's why it's gambling. But I do like that prop. So mine, I will say, I'll preface this, if you guys are listening to my bets, I appreciate it. You should be tailing me. I've been on a cold streak on the bets that I've been giving out on the show. A lot of Falcons bets have not worked out. Last week, I was like, speaking of Miami, they can easily score 30 points. They've been doing it at home all the time. Yeah, no, they didn't score 30 points. So with that, I will say I like Sam Howell over 39.5 pass attempts That's a minus 105. So he's thrown 41 plus attempts in 7 of his last 8 games. And of those 7 games where he's hit at least 41, he's averaging 45.7 attempts.
That's just a lot to think about, though.
I know, but he's going against Dallas. I am a Dallas fan. I am wearing the Parsons jersey right now. Dallas should spank them. Now, they might not, but Dallas is really either they're getting themselves spanked or they are doing the spanking. There's really no in between. And I have to believe they will be the ones spanking the Commanders this week. So they already love to throw a lot. He's over 3,000 yards already through 11 weeks. I have to believe they're going to keep throwing a lot. Yeah. So I like that. I like those odds. At minus, I think what I said, 105. Yeah, minus 105. I like that. So at this point, he's now not going to throw at all because I made that bet, but that is my bet of the week. We're going to move on.
He took a shot last week to the shoulder. That's why I'm a little concerned.
He's playing.
He's going to have a season low pass attempts because he made that bet.
Hey, as long as the Cowboys win, that's okay.
They're going to run the ball and the Cowboys are going to lose.
Don't put that on me. But with that, I'm going to call fake on that one. We're going to do real and spectacular or fake. So I'm going to give you a statement. You're going to tell me if basically it's true or false. If you are officially eliminated from making the playoffs in your fantasy league, then you should not be making waiver wire pickups. Is that real and spectacular or fake?
It's fake. You still want to be competitive. I'm a believer that practice makes perfect. You are a creature of habits. Now, I think if you are mathematically eliminated, you should not be making trades because that has, and as a commissioner, I've dealt with that recently, is rosters for that person should be locked because there's no way that it's going to make their team better. It can only help someone else.
Yeah.
But be competitive till the end because if the person that's eliminated is playing someone that's fighting for a playoff spot, and they're not actively checking their roster or trying to make waiver wire pickups, that's unfair. So, yeah, fight till the end. And then once playoffs start, those rosters should be locked.
That I agree. Completely agree with you. Not to mention, you're paying to play the full season. Like, I'd feel kind of gypped if I was eliminated. And like you said, going against like a team that's fringe playoff, you want to try and play spoiler. And if your roster is completely locked, I'd be like, you know what? I'm not even going to bother checking this. I'm just going to go out to lunch and not care about the game at that point.
Yeah, I'm just going to do more song and dance and less fantasy football checking.
Nice. So I will say, unless it's in your bylaws or some sort of rules that you can't make moves once you're eliminated, keep playing. Like you said, you guys paid to play. It's not fun if you just like check out. I mean, the whole point is when I'm a commissioner is trying to keep all the league together all year anyway. So why now check out? And I will say once you get into the playoffs, if your league has a rule where you can't making moves, that's one thing too. Like we're in Scott Fishbowl, that is one of the rules for that one. It's a little different of kind of a league. So it really just depends on your league, but have those conversations in the off season, plan it out, think about it now if it's impacting your league. But by all means, in general, unless it's against your league bylaws, keep playing, have fun, try to win, be the spoiler. Even if you're eliminated, try to knock somebody out of the playoffs. Have fun. Trash talk. Just do it up. Have a good time. That's the whole point of fantasy football. With that, though, this one should be fun. Zach Wilson being benched for friend of the show, Tim Boyle, still does not help Garrett Wilson or Breece Hall for fantasy. Real and spectacular or fake?
I mean, can it really get much worse? They did go 13 quarters without a touchdown. It can't really get much worse. Like, yes, they could go 14 quarters without a touchdown. But does the addition of friend of the pod, Tim Boyle, lock them both?
Love that you're prefacing this.
Lock them both in the top 5 roles? Absolutely not. May raise the floor a little bit, but I don't think it raises the ceiling too much.
I would say it helps them a little bit. And I mean, like Alex said, there's nowhere to go but up. But at the same time, sometimes players might be a little bit more inspired to play for Tim Boyle. It sounds like Zach Wilson had lost the locker room a while ago. It sounds like he's not starting again in New York. And they still have a chance to make the playoffs. I believe their record is 4-6. I'm going to double check right now. It's not over for them.
Hunt for that wild card.
And what we've seen, with the Raiders getting rid of Josh McDaniels and hiring Antonio Pierce, they still have the same players, but literally just the leader of the team changed the chemistry, changed just kind of the attitude. It kept Devontae Adams looks as happy as he's looked in a Raiders uniform. I mean, Jets are 4-6 right now. They are, from a playoff perspective, they're 2 games out. It's not over yet.
No, need some help, but they're still alive.
What about you, Zach?
I think it is real and spectacular that this does not help them in a real sense. Now, do we all feel more positive? Sure, because we couldn't feel worse. But I just don't expect much. Now, Breece Hall still has been serviceable. Garrett Wilson, maybe he's going to get more targets now and be serviceable. That's great. But they're nowhere near what we were hoping they would be when Aaron Rodgers was healthy those first 4 snaps. So I don't want to bank on them going in my playoffs, but if you've been using them, you're still going to keep using them.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think some people are just getting a little too excited about it. And
okay, Zach, would you feel more comfortable starting them this week than you did last week?
I feel if we're excluding matchups and just thinking about them in a vacuum, I don't feel any different.
Okay.
I don't think Tim Boyle is moving the needle in a positive or negative direction from Zach Wilson.
Okay,
I would feel a little more positive.
I'm pretty sure in college, I thought I saw someone talk about it. Pretty sure his touchdown to interception ratio was 1 touchdown to 16 interceptions. I could be wrong, but
if it did,
I'm just proud of Tim Boyle to have an NFL contract right now. I'll be honest. Get paid. But with that, speaking of Zach Wilson getting yeeted off the Jets, he's still in the Jets, but he's now 3rd string. Who are you eating off your roster? You can't handle it anymore. You can't do it. They need to be gone. Doc, who is getting yeeted?
I mean, there's a lot of people we could say. I'm going to go with someone that I think has been more of a waiver wire ad, and that's Deonta Foreman. Now, I'm not saying what he's done recently has warranted this, but looking for the rest of the season, questionable with an ankle injury coming into this week. Khalil Herbert is active off the IL. Justin Fields has been taking rushing opportunities away. I mean, part of the appeal with Deonta Foreman was the volume he was getting. Prior to last week, 21 carries, 20 carries the week before, but not great yards per carry. 6 for 14, got bailed out by a touchdown. I think there are more people that are valuable rest of season, whether it's a backup defense, whether it's you're getting handcuffs for your own running backs, you're getting backup quarterbacks. I think there's more people of value than Deonta Foreman.
This is Herbert's first week off the IR, correct?
He came back this past week.
He was active this. Okay, because I was about to say give it one more week with Herbert active, see how he gets acclimated. But
the issue is Deonta Foreman's hurt now, so.
Oh well, that makes it even. Like Doc said, that makes it even easier.
How about you, Alex? Who are you yeeting?
I'm surprised they both were rostered in this many leagues. Chuba Hubbard was rostered in almost 70% of leagues, and Miles Sanders was rostered in just about 60% of leagues. They both have to go. Since the bye week, they have a combined between the two of them 1 top 25 week. They're just roster cloggers at this point. They're the guys that are absolutely worth dropping to play the QB matchup, to block an opponent, to stack that extra defense, to grab your guy, Doc, Travion Williams, in case Mixon goes down.
Oh, no. Travion Williams. There's now the Burrows. That's sailed. That's over.
He got yeeted too. He was never on, but he's been yeeted.
He got yeeted.
But yeah, those guys, they're low ceiling, low floor roster cloggers at this point. They got to go.
Perfect. And I do want to tie in before I give my guy to what you said. Now that we're past most of the buys, so pay attention to your rosters next few weeks. If you don't have those bye week issues, get those guys off your bench, put in guys that have a chance to pop if there's an injury, get those lottery ticket guys, or like we said, quarterbacks, defenses, any of those. That's where you're going to get value on your bench as you go into the playoffs. With that, the guy I'm eating, I feel bad because he hasn't played in a while, but at this point, who cares? Damian Pierce, I'm sorry. We were pretty excited. He's flashed a little bit. I mean, Devin Singletary took his lunch money while he was out injured. And even if Pierce comes back and has even half the role, I mean, I don't know how much of a role he's going to get, how good he's going to. He didn't look great before he got injured. Devin Singletary has been running over people, 100-plus yards in multiple games recently. I'm sorry, Damian Pierce. If you're coming off of IR, I can't leave you in my IR spot anymore because you're out. You're no longer out. You got to be yeeted. So get off my roster. Sorry.
Yeah, can't blame you.
And before we're going to get to the random tight end touch on the week, I do not have one this week. I can't do it this week. But I would like to say I did say Donald Parham last week. Wasn't even close. I think he had multiple drops last week. But I did get the team right because our buddy.
Oh my gosh!
Our buddy.
There are no half points.
Moral victories don't.
I am not taking any credit for it. I am just pointing out that I at least got the team right. So process over results on that one. And I should have doubled down. I think one of our listeners commented, double down on Tommy Tremble. I should have listened because he had a garbage touchdown as well. So who would have thought?
But you would have repeated with Tommy Tremble.
Correct, which is why I would have felt I couldn't do it. But look at Tommy Tremble just coming out of nowhere with just these garbage touchdowns. So
I got a good one this week.
I got to hear it. Who is your random tight end touchdown? It's Thanksgiving week. This could be the week you finally hit.
And you know what? I put my money where my mouth was last week and did Josh Wiley, and it didn't hit. Tucker Kraft. Do you guys know who Tucker Kraft is?
Mm-hmm.
Backup tight end for the Packers. Luke Musgrave, talked about earlier this week. Probably not playing after being discharged from the hospital. 2 passes for 32 yards, including being a toe tap away from his first touchdown last week. I expect the Packers want him to get it this week. It's Tucker Kraft time. He's going to get his first touchdown.
I like it's the first game of the Thanksgiving slate too. Yeah. So I mean, you could start off Thanksgiving dinner with just money in your pockets, feeling great. You finally got.
I might throw like $10-$20 on a Tucker Kraft anytime touchdown.
There you go. We don't talk DFS much on here, but if you're playing that showdown slate, I mean, he's got to be super cheap. I have to imagine. Yeah, so
should be.
Slide him in there. But with that, before we go, did you gentlemen have anything else to say? We won't be back till next week.
Enjoy Thanksgiving football. Enjoy Black Friday football. And this NFL Sunday will feel weird with the minor slate that we have.
Yeah, not going to be a lot of games this weekend. Yeah, happy holidays.
Awesome. Before we go, I did want to shout out Micah Parsons real quick. I am wearing his jersey. I am a Cowboys fan. So you can't even really see. Let's get this up there. The number 11. There we go. Why I want to shout him out was he sent out a tweet a few days ago being like, hey, who wants to come to the Thanksgiving game? The Cowboys are playing. And one of our own from the community, fantasy pastor, he had obviously a horrible situation happen to his family over the summer where one of his sons passed away in an auto accident, which is obviously terrible. And so he replied to the tweet just saying, hey, family would love to come to the game. It's been a rough year. It'd be special for us to go. And this morning, I think it was this morning, it was yesterday, Micah Parsons reached out and was like, hey, you're coming, and I'm going to hopefully win a turkey leg for kicking butt in the game. So I just think that's awesome, part of the fantasy community, to see that. So many people in the community were just retweeting that, talking about it in all of our group chats. Just happy for him and his family. So good on Micah Parsons, but I hope that family just has an awesome time there. And as a Cowboys fan, hopefully the Cowboys win. But that's what Thanksgiving's all about. That's what this fantasy community is all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to put that out there, share that for those of you who aren't as involved in the community and didn't see that. But hopefully they have a great time tomorrow. So thank you all for watching and tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. It's a great way to give back, be thankful for us. As if you didn't know, Doc is also doing basketball. We still got baseball going on. This is triple play fantasy. This is not just football fantasy. So we got you covered.
I don't have a life.
No, all Doc does is gamble, go to depressing Ravens games, and then do podcasts of multiple sports. He got you covered. So like I said, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Thank you all. We will see you next week. Have a great holiday. Good luck out there. Let's make those playoffs.